All right guys, we're gonna look at the pin loaded leg press, but for quad dominant variations here. So a couple of things to consider with the setup first. Now you'll notice that we actually haven't pulled the seat all the way down as yet. The reason why is that before we even start doing that, we probably worth testing what is our active range available at the hips in terms of how deep we're realistically going to get in this machine. So Mal would essentially hold herself in the position that she's going to be in while she's doing the movement, and she would just test on either side, just a bit of a sense check, like where are the hips capable of flexing to. Now you'll see for her, if she goes on this one, I would have an eye as a look at this, and you can also sense check this for yourself if this is for your own. You would have a look and you say, right, that's as far as I'm realistically going to get. What does that feel like? What does that look like? Great, I've got that locked in. I'm now going to set up the seat to get me into that range at the bottom. It's important that you don't force yourself past that end range, because if you do, chances are we might start passing off some of the tension onto some musculature that we ideally don't want to be doing. We want to keep this all focused in on the quads. In terms of the next setup point, she's of course already set herself up. We can't adjust the back pad on this. We can adjust torso position, but that's for the other videos. But this is great for quads. She's in a more leaning back position, which is going to allow her to get more knee flexion. And then she's going to hold on to the handles here, pull herself down tight. Last point is where the feet are now. It was always thought that the feet should be as narrow as possible, and that's not really the case. Yes, we definitely want them low, but we have to put them at a width that actually suits our, not just our hip mobility, but also our ankle mobility as well. So this might be fine, but it might be also that this blocks you individually. It might be that you actually need to go just slightly wider with a slight bit of rotation at the femur of the leg, and also a slight turn out of the toes. So you have to individualize this for you to feel what works best. We've already determined that this is actually pretty good for Mal in this variation. So from there, she's then going to make sure that she presses into the pad first and extends away. Now, when we're using a machine that has a fixed foot plate, unlike the 45-degree leg extension where the plate itself is moving, we want to think about this. We get to this bottom position, we hold, we control this lengthened, mid to lengthened range, we hold that end point, so hold the next one for me, Mal. So rather than her thinking about pushing herself away, she's almost going to think about pushing this foot plate as if she can push it away from her. As a result, that's going to make her really force tension to be coming from the quads before she then extends through to that top end of the position. Now, a couple of things we definitely don't want to do is we don't want to rush our way through this and use tons of momentum. And just to, yeah, exactly, just super fast and not really keeping control. We want to own those eccentrics, make sure that we're really maximizing tension in the quads and then controlling out of that end range. The other thing we don't want to do is we don't want to necessarily overextend the knee, so we don't want to just like forcibly lock the knees out and drive these down. It's just putting an unnecessary amount of force through the knee joint, so that's important as well. So a couple of good reps to finish. Really, if we've got like a 3 or 4 second eccentric tempo, it's really owning those eccentrics slowly, making sure that the plates don't touch on the pin stack, controlling that start of the concentric movement, keeping as much contractile force in the quads throughout as possible.